Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of RSBandB Updates Supplemental. This week, Mr. Bistro will be joining us on RSBandB Update. He is our newest RSBandB Informer writer, so if you have something that you'd like to ask of him or us in general, just head on over to the forums and post it, rsbnb.com/forums, or if you want to send in an audio question, that can be emailed to questions@rsbnb.com. We look forward to hearing from you. So this week we're going to talk about one of RuneScape's most controversial updates of 2014, and that is Power to the Players, or Player Power as it's called right now. Power to the Players was first announced in the tail end of 2013 and was released mid-January 2014 to much support from most of the community. We were promised at least one new poll a week with up to 7 guaranteed content polls a month. 17 would kind of be pushing it. Some polls have delivered, such as the one that brought us Plague's End and soon to be the Elven City, the Legacy Mode polls, Combat versus Non-Combat Boss, which resulted in Araxor, and the Master Skill Cape poll, which brought us the 120 Mastery Capes. Others have fallen short in one way or another. Falling short in a Power to the Players poll can mean either having the content not appear at all, scrapping ideas entirely and starting fresh, or just being a plain useless poll that really wasn't required. So the first poll I'd like to address is an early one, and that was the holiday items for loyalty points. This poll passed with a margin of 59 to 41. I did not think this poll was a good idea, given that it brought in holiday items that were once deemed to be special and unique to people who were around in those times. But nonetheless, I'm going to shine some light onto this poll and see maybe what went wrong with this and what this means for Power of the Players in general. So this poll was stated that the update would come out in April 2014, but this never materialized. The topic has been unstickied and has been eerily quiet, with no replies from any JMods, just a handful of players keeping it alive. If Power to the Players is to maintain a level of legitimacy into 2015, an answer of some type is required. Has this update been cancelled? Has it been delayed indefinitely? Or is it being reworked to encompass some sort of other holiday items from years past? A simple one-paragraph post from a JMod is all that we would need to rectify this. Whether or not it comes, I'm not sure, and it's been 4 months since the stated due date of which the content would be added to the game. The next polls that were kind of confusing were the Halloween 2014 polls. Halloween 2014 was to be decided by player power, but a lukewarm reception after 5 polls has resulted in something that is far much less than exciting. So the first poll, Halloween 2014, what happens next, was followed by what happens next number 2, then Halloween 2014, what happens next number 3, finally a poll pertaining to Halloween 2014 of whether or not the Spiders versus Void Pest theme should be continued, and ultimately we have just had the Halloween event JMod Powers poll. There was no clear winner in any of the first 3 polls that I mentioned. This resulted in asking if Jagex should continue down the path of Spiders versus Void Pests. 64% said no, even though they had been choosing options in the last 3 polls. The takeaway? Polls need to have a none of the above option if the question is not a simple yes or no answer. Also, asking a group of people to each contribute a story to a paragraph will likely result in an incoherent story. That's what happened here. Storylines should be left to the Jagex moderators to design and create. Lastly, some polls are just purely useless. The drop table rework polls are emblematic of this for a number of reasons. Jagex has metrics on which drops are left and which ones are picked up at various NPCs. They don't need us to tell them which NPCs need a drop table rework. Players have their favorite critters to kill, but the metrics can do so much more pertaining to what drops are valuable and what drops are not valuable as perceived by the players. For example, Dark Beasts drop items that are completely useless to someone with 90 Slayer, but Demons won in the first poll instead, which is fine. But Fast forward to a couple months ago, Beasts did not appear in Drop Table Rework poll number 2. These two polls likely serve as polls provided just to give players a choice in something rather than enacting meaningful change. These three types of issues with 2014 polls, combined with the recent lack of weekly polls, beg the question, is Jagex losing confidence with the player power voting system? This does seem apparent through the lack of recent polls, simplistic nature of some polls, and the need to reverse course on 2 of the polls mentioned previously. If this is the case, what will be told to the players when the polling system is removed? Or maybe this is just the natural course of events, and 2015 will see the return of a Jagex design release schedule. The question I want everyone to think about for the rest of 2014 is, are you better off with the player-driven direction that the game has taken? Even with these bumps along the road, would you prefer to see something similar for 2015? And that's it for today, everyone. If you like what you heard, you can click the little subscribe button below, and we'll see you next week for another RSBandB Update Supplemental.